Hello, before we proceed, please pause this video, grab yourself some favorite beverage and take a more comfortable seat, and then return to this video, because today I will talk about the company that I really like. Maybe I'd even call them my most favorite company. It's IMR Acoustics, and today we will talk about the new Aten. I don't know why they named this model actually Aten. Of course, their R2 or Aten was a really successful model, but a new version is a noticeable improvement in terms of sound, and it's a noticeable change in terms of design, because it features their new shells in a fancy bluish color. But it's still dual hybrids with a dynamic driver and fifth generation of the ceramic super tweeter. And this fifth generation of ceramic tweeter is the reason of the sound upgrade in this case. Price is £400, but they sometimes are available with discounts. They were on the mass drop, and also there will be Black Friday deal. There are discount codes for loyal customers, so there are a few chances to get this model for less price. But actually, £400 in my opinion is still a worse price for this product, and in this video I will tell you why. So in terms of specifications, I don't remember exact, it's like 106 decibels of sensitivity and 16 ohms of impedance or so basically average sensitivity and impedance, so no need to worry about that, and let's proceed to the review itself. So package is traditional, it's nice fabric case with convenient handle with zipper lock, so basically the best storage case exists. Of course, it's not comfortable for everyday carrying, but I think for everyday carry you can get some small case easily, and this one is good for storage. And here is the new updated version of their manual with safety information, with tuning information, and with the information about the different filters. So this model still features two stage filter system, so you can select amount of lows you'd like and amount of upper, mids and treble, and there are few combinations that you can choose, but there are many other different options, of course. Accessory set is also pretty familiar, so earphones themselves, two cables with two with two leather stripes to wind them, earpieces themselves. Let's carefully pull them out. As usual, it's a bit hard to do. Probably it's not the smartest idea to pull them by this filter system, but I think it's safe to do it once. You will get also another filters with closed back, set of tips, so 4 pair of silicone tips, 2 pair of black foams, and pair of double flange. Regular 6.3mm adapter. Also here should be short clip. Yeah, here it is. You know what I like with IMR? It's like coming home after long absence. You always know what to expect. And here are filters themselves, so let me pull this out. I want to save my nails, so here they are. As you can see, 8 pair of base filters this bottom part, and 6 pair of upper mids and treble filters. So here they are. So let's put it aside. Let me zoom in a little bit, because they definitely worth your attention. So if you don't remember or if you haven't seen, here are the previous version of IMR Aten. Actually not my traditional type of tuning, pink with black. I usually prefer red with black, but it was some experiments. So nice, unusual design, a bit of steampunkish look, reminding BioShock games. And here is the new version, totally different, so you can see really cool blue color, nice combination with silver, good finish quality, of course great level of metal work and so on. I'm not sure about fit, because some people complaining about fit, but for me this shape is almost perfect and it's fitting into my ears in a really nice way, providing even higher wearing comfort comparing with this model. Sound isolation is about average, but you can change it, changing this outer port, so you can select between more open construction. Oh, and by the way, nice touch, IMR added kind of protective grill here, so no derbies will get inside of the shells when you're changing the filters. You know, it's interesting touch because recently I've tested Opus Mia and I didn't have this filter, so you can see that they improving their designs. They have proper angle of spouts, but spouts here also work as filters, so sound isolation is about average or slightly above average. And here is this two-step filter system, so you can unscrew the tip of this spout and change it to change the amount of upper, mids and treble, and bottom part it's for low frequencies, so you can select the necessary amounts or you can pick inside of the shells. Of course all screws are done perfectly, there are rubber rings to improve the fit and seal and everything else. So here are the tips, let's put them back. And cable is still the same familiar wire. I like it, it's comfortable, at least for me. It's pretty well done. I don't have issues with these cables, never had, so kind of improvement. They use a bit unusual connector with a small notch to provide the proper polarity, but you can use any 2-pin connector without notch too, it will fit. So fitting pretty nicely without big issues. Holding pretty well, at least my pair. And here is the cable itself. It's kind of unusual, it looks like spiral in the isolation, but it's more or less soft. Not the softest one, but on the softer side, not getting hard when it's cold outside. IMR makes cables longer than usual, 1.4 meters usually, so you can get a bit of additional freedom. Anyway, let's summarize it in terms of accessory set, in terms of design, in terms of package and other presentation stuff. I think everything is done on a really good level. And of course about the sound, the most interesting part of the review, but first traditional preconditions. First one is that this model, as well as vast majority of other IMR models, require air lengthy burn-in, and actually it requires about 100 hours of burn-in, and during that process they will change sound in a noticeable ways. So before doing critical listening and before trying different filters, they require do that burn-in process. Yes, I know there are a lot of skeptics about the burn-in, and I also sure that in vast majority with many in earphones it doesn't necessary, but IMR models proved that they change the sound. Also, of course, they require finding a proper tips, but it's pretty obvious, and the most interesting part is selecting the filters. For this pair I used my traditional filter setup with red base and black tops, and I like the about average amount of low frequencies, and black filters just give me nice upper mids and trebles that I like, but big and important part of experience with these earphones is to try different tips combination. Of course, that doesn't mean that you need to change these filter settings like 10 times per day, year over year. It's just a way to find one or two signatures that you like and stay with it. And also you can change the sound using this outer port. I will say a few words about that. But anyway, you know, there are a lot of questions like what is the best combination of filters, what filter settings are you using, but I definitely encourage you to try it yourself, to do some experiments, because it's a really important part of experience with this model, and it's actually part of the pleasure of getting some IMR model. And I will make sound description for this set of filters, and of course comparisons with regular Atens is unavoidable, so I will put them somewhere here at the background to remind us about the predecessor. Some player to show an examples. It will be Aston Kern Ultima SP2000. And let's proceed. In general, it's more natural signature than, let's say, Opus Mia, for example, with a bit less amount of low frequencies. Even actually with bassy filters, it will have a bit less bass. But of course, anyway, here used a big dynamic driver, and it can deliver good amounts of low frequencies. Just be sure that you select the proper tips with good isolation, and it will deliver deep, mighty, powerful bass. You can select between pretty bassy signature with black filters and pretty bass light with, I don't remember the color, but there are bass light filters. Still, low frequencies are deep, they have really good resolution. Of course, it's not balanced armatures, it's still a dynamic driver, but resolution is nice, and it's pretty technical. It will be good with real instruments. It will give you nice amount of that small nuances and overtones, so good sense of realism, good size of this imaginary instruments. Of course, if you won't select the big bassy filter, with bassy filters their size will be bigger, of course. Nice texturing, good amount of impact, so basically it's pretty universal low frequencies, suiting both electronic music and some acoustic instruments, and actually in this aspect it's a pretty universal model. But if you like really big bass, of course it's better to consider Opus Mia that have more low frequencies. And as an example I will use Massive Attack Exchange. So basically any Massive Attack track is always about nice, good bass, and this one is not an exception, and these earphones deliver nice amounts of resonance and nice amounts of depth in the lower frequencies domain. And bass transitions smoothly into mids, and actually it's first pleasant surprise for the regular Aten users. Mid resolution slightly increased. It's not the huge difference, and probably it's not the necessary upgrade, like change is really not big, but a bit improved. It's like, you know, good resolving dynamic driver mids without focus on the micro detalization. Don't expect every single tiny nuance highlight like balanced armatures does. It's not the model tuned this way. It provides more whole, more weighty signature with but still with nice amount of details, of course, just not focusing on them. It makes them forgiving for the quality of records, but actually because of the treble they still require good records. More on that probably I will tell when we get to the treble area. So basically need to be shorter, probably mids resolving, but it's dynamic driver resolving without focus on the micro contrast, pretty emotional and with good amount of weight and macro dynamics. Imaginary stage is big, noticeably above average. With these filters it's a bit bigger, but sounding a bit more diffuse because it's gives you slight effect of instruments mixing with each other sometimes. And with these filters, basically, let me get one. So with these filters you will get a better positioning, slightly smaller widths, but also pretty good, and also it making low frequencies a bit more impactful and present. So it's a matter of preferences, because you know, like with tracks that have just few instruments I prefer this option, and with some big orchestra, for example, I like this version of tuning because it's sounding a bit more natural. And actually, speaking about the big orchestras, I've got as an example Danny Elfman, Serenada Scisophrana, and a brass thing. You probably know about Danny Elfman, great composer that created a lot of famous movie soundtracks, but I like his separate symphony, his I don't know how to say it, the symphony he created, Serenada Scisophrana, not soundtrack, not something created on purpose, just like symphony poem or something like that. And it's a big orchestra with a lot of interesting movements, with a lot of interesting changes in tempo and so on. So basically, you know, it's like not dull classics. Of course, I understand that classics isn't dull, but from the average listener perspective, of course, something like Serenada Scisophrana sounding much more engaging. And of course it requires good resolution, good technical mids, and this model delivers that. And treble. Treble is the part that made me fall in love with IMR models. I like their ceramic piezo tweeter, and I like its tuning, and actually new generation of this driver delivers even more a bit more natural treble comparing with the previous version. Also not a huge change, but noticeable. It has noticeably above average treble extension, and thanks to this piezo tweeter it gives you pretty good layering, perfect overtone saturation, and nice resolution, and actually what I call weight, so proper attacks and decays representation in the treble area, giving this additional sense of naturalism. And that is a plus, but also it's a minus because it requires good, well-recorded tracks, because in many modern tracks on the upper treble you can hear some artifacts of compression or some other stuff like that, and sometimes it can sound a bit unpleasant. But with properly recorded, with some things, with audiophilic records, it definitely increases sense of realism in a pretty noticeable way, giving you more sense of presence, giving you more sense of audience where the track was recorded. So basically that's the experience that I'd like. Accent on treble here is slightly lower than in previous Atens, but still it's not the model, of course, for treble phobics. You know, not much sense in putting the ceramic super tweeter into earphones and making recessed treble. It's not hugely boost, at least to my ears, but still it's present and it has a good noticeably above average extension, and that means that you need to be okay with higher frequencies. And as an example, I've got the Quintet, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Bud Powell, Max Rich, and Charlie Mingus. So basically gods of jazz playing together, and jazz at Massey Hall. So good live record. Actually, quality of record isn't perfect, unfortunately, but still it's that energy, that live performance, that dedication of all musicians to this gig, to this event, gives a great sense of presence. And thanks to the nice overtones, saturation here, you will get additional sense of realism. I've selected Hot House, but of course any single track will do. And to summarize everything, nice, well, I actually don't know, they are a bit V-shaped, but not too V-shaped, but of course you can change that with filters. So basically tuning is somewhere from slightly V-shaped to more V-shaped, but with good level of technical performance, especially on the treble. So in terms of pairing, they require some good dubs, probably somewhere starting with Fuse M11 and ending with something I like Ibasso DX220. I subjectively like it with Shenling because they have some kind of synergy. And speaking about the compressions, first thing is of course the original Atens. So slightly more natural, more resolving, a bit less sparkling on the treble, but difference isn't huge, so I think there is not much sense in urging for an upgrade. But of course, if you'll get a good deal, then why not? I don't know, some other IMR models, I don't know what we've got. Ra is more focused on the mids, delivering better mids performance thanks to the planar magnetic drivers, and that's it. Opus Mia is more V-shaped, more fun, with more resolving upper mids thanks to the electrostatic drivers, and with more low frequencies. I don't know, I hope I will try PB2 and Semper soon, we'll see what they deliver. Some other models, lot of actually earphones in this segment, just to name something like LZ A7 for example, that I reviewed recently. They are a bit more focused on the micro detalization, a bit thinner on the mid, so basically it's a matter of preferences. So do you like a bit more weighty mids, or and bass actually, or do you like thinner, faster, and more focused on the micro contrast? I don't know, like Fio FH7 for example, it's different, it has less extension in treble, but more weight on mids and so on. So this video is already over long, so let's summarize everything. IMR upgraded their model nicely, delivering a really good price to quality ratio, and actually keep an eye at their discounts because there should be some good deals. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a nice day.